Alright, what's up everyone? So in today's episode, we will be discussing on how smart contract platforms become valuable. I think as we all know, I'm running a channel that focuses on investing and trading in cryptocurrencies, and we always want to validate how these companies actually start to make money, right? And today, working from home as always. Usually usually in the day, right? Because of the timings that I'm streaming, usually at 10 a.m. and then if I do a stream at night for any kind of important announcements, I'm always from home. Naturally, if you watch any episodes that are done in the office, usually they are gonna be a little bit more polished, and it's usually for either for commercial purposes, or at least when you're actually catching the courses, right, or the workshops that will always be done in the office. So if you're wondering why am I like sometimes working from home, sometimes I'm streaming from either I'm streaming. I prefer live, guys. I always prefer streaming live. I prefer interacting with people on the spot. So that's the reason. So right now, right, I was as for this episode, right, I think everybody wants to kind of determine how does an open source smart contract platform such as Ethereum make money, right? And it kind of boils down to a few things. One, you want to you must have a community going first. And when they created a open source smart contract platform, yes, okay, you need to you can't be here at the moment. Come, it's okay, come, it's okay, come, it's okay. Okay, wait, later, can why you here? Okay, sorry guys. Usually at the moment, because the baby happened to wake up a little bit earlier than usual, and yeah, so mommy is trying to get her to the, but it's not so easy. So anyway, so a few things that you might want to take note of, like, because a lot of people were buying into the hype of Ethereum, right? And Ethereum is one of the largest smart contract protocols at the time, and still is, right, in terms of market cap. But if you want to talk about monetizing something, okay, at the moment, if you're an open source, most of it is based on growth, and they are building a open source platform first. Okay, so I was asking this because at the time, that was three years ago, how do free applications, for example, if you talk about WhatsApp, you talk about Telegram, how are they monetizing their platform? Because there's no advertising, right? If you're using Telegram, you're using WhatsApp, there's no advertising. You're just able to message. You're just able to message your friend, right? And you are able to send files, across the to that person as well. Either pictures or any kind of document. It's so powerful, but you don't see any ads, so there's no monetization happening. So when I looked at the smart contract platforms, I'm like, hey, how are these people making money, right? Because every single ICO, right, at the time, everyone was trying to be the next Ethereum or claims to be a better Ethereum. So basically you boil it down to a few things. One, after the network is successful and you want to encourage decentralized, you want to encourage developers to start building on the platform. Obviously, you have to make sure that you have a very solid and secure platform. There's a proper gas model that doesn't exorbitantly go crazy, especially when the prices are up. That is the part where I think a lot of developers kind of have to tweak, because mathematically, if your price of the token, right, goes up, and then from then, so does your costs for running a smart contract, especially when the network gets more and more heavily used. I think the gas model obviously will have to adjust itself, right? Because when you want to run more code, which is of course the smart contracts on a network, it becomes more expensive, right? So it was like, to me, I was like thinking, how do I put a number to this? How do we value it? So right now, apparently, from what I understand, you cannot put a number to how much the network is worth for now, because it's an intangible number, okay? Because you only can track a few things. One, you can track the number of applications that are being built on a smart contract platform. Okay, that you probably can do, because most platforms will at least come out with maybe a website, or you can go to GitHub and kind of see how many people are working on the platform. Sometimes it's very confusing because you're looking at whether or not these people are developing and helping the platform become better, or they're building something on their own. So I guess, because I'm not a developer, but this is basically what I understand. So the next thing you'll be thinking, okay, how does that actually provide any intrinsic value? Well, theoretically it does, indirectly. It doesn't give it a value like a number, like a stock, or whether Ethereum should be worth $136 or whatever. It is not relatable, okay? It's really not relatable. That part is the speculative part, unfortunately, okay? It will still always remain as a speculative part, because it doesn't translate directly. Same thing like Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin network, okay, although it is the most longest running chain that we know in the blockchain space, or at least open source, and it's decentralized, truly decentralized, not run by any central government or any central institute or whatever. Sure, miners are considered centralized, okay, I get that, but just think of the basic theory behind it. Right now, one Bitcoin is worth $3,800 to $3,900. But where did that number come from? Is it because the network is really doing a certain X amount of transactions a day? Does those X amount of transactions actually translate to the price? No. Unfortunately, no, and no. Because there's no financial statement, okay? There's no known assets that this company, which is in this case Bitcoin has no company, right? It's not a company. It's a protocol. It's a network. It's open source. It's by the community, as they say, especially when it first started out. So you can't put a number to it. But companies, for example, like Stellar Lumens, you have Stellar Lumens, you have Ravencoin. All these at least have a company. There's a head, right? There's a head responsible for the development of the business, and obviously they want to build a community. Whether is it something to do with ASIC resistance or whatever, okay? All these things, right, will eventually come to play. And right now, for people to really make money, or how can the company make money? Let's say if Stellar Lumens wanted to make money, they wanted to monetize their smart contract platform. How do they do that? Or how do they monetize? They can provide, they can't monetize the platform directly, but since they built it and it seems to be efficient, it encourages companies to create dApps on it, or applications, or any kind of product on the Lumens blockchain, for example. Okay, then at the same time, let's say I've been talking a lot about Huobi Pool token. Huobi Pool token is a platform that provides services for miners. Okay, they cater from anything from handling the BTC or whatever that is mined, because they need to create a wallet, and then from then they need to connect to a wallet that is safe and secure, and it allows them to easily cash out their Bitcoins or cash out their Ethereum. That's what it's meant to do. At the same time, there's additional features, for example, technical support that the company is providing. Okay, so all these are revenue streams. For an open source, okay, it's a little bit different. How they usually built it, they built an open source first. The moment it's successful, or based freely, right? Freely, because anybody can build on it. It's open source anyway, right? Anybody can build on it. A 12-year-old who knows code can build on it. So what happens is that eventually enterprise solutions or enterprises or companies that are serious to be that are interested to build on the Bitcoin on a blockchain, or are deciding to take on a distributed ledger technology, will engage all these teams. From there, they start charging. Okay, from there they start charging either as a consultant, being an advisor for the company, and then from then perhaps they're gonna require the team to build a whole infrastructure for them specifically on Lumens that is usually maybe a side chain, and that side chain can be permission or private, right? It doesn't have to be public. So that's how it works. So if you're wondering how do you put a number to it, eventually it depends on how transparent, right? If the company is was start up as a for-profit organization, naturally it is up to them whether they would like to put out an unaudited financial accounts, just like what Litecoin did, right? Litecoin put out a unaudited financial statement. So this is a very important piece of information, because the moment that you see the company's unaudited financial statement, right, you can see, okay, the income, you see the expenses, how much profit they're making, do they actually have any assets. I think it's a very good thing, because Litecoin kind of took the initiative and took the very first steps to transparently put, even though it's unaudited, at least they put something out there for people to start able to quantify and do qualitative analysis, quantitative and qualitative analysis on a particular blockchain company, or at least in this case Litecoin, right? And it takes time, because every quarter they probably will make the effort to put out one. Whereas, you know, a lot of companies these days, because they're not profitable, they don't really see the need to really engage an accountant, which is true, because most of them are all startups, right? There's no requirement. Everything it was raised through the public as per se, or through private placement. If they did issue equity privately, they would have to release some sort of announcement to the private investors. The public, right? Because since it's listed on a crypto exchange, right? Crypto exchanges don't have this requirement for them to release their financial statements. Not like when you list on a public exchange like the NASDAQ, right? Where there's a requirement for you to make sure that you have your quarterly earnings, right? Every quarter there's a quarterly earnings for all industries, okay? And the requirement is for you to put out an audited financial statement of accounts. It's accountability, because you are now, you did your IPO. You either raise money privately or through the pre-IPO, or even during the IPO phase. And during the IPO phase, also there was fundraising involved. So I'm moving interchangeably back and forth. I'm not trying to confuse you. It's just really the same thing. And ICO does the same thing. You have the initial seed round, then you have private placement. Then after the private placement, it goes to the ICO phase, and the ICO phase can have many different stages. It depends on how complex they want to make it, right? And how they want to raise their valuations. And this is how the space has been evolving. But we're talking about monetizing. How do I monetize? So for example, a very good example recently is the BAT, or at least BAT token, right? After, I think, 2 years, or is it less than 2 years, they managed to have 20 million user base. Okay, the user base is determined based on the number of Brave browsers that have been downloaded, which is fine. I think it's a very impressive number if truly that is the number. And they have just recently turned on ad revenue, or at least you can earn money by viewing ads. Okay, so these are the examples that I'm stating for you to kind of get a very, very clear picture on where do you put a number. At the moment, we only can validate, are they making revenue? And you know what's the sad thing? Now I'm going to tell you the sad thing about all this. So Ryan, wow, so they're making revenue. Does that mean that when I buy when I buy Lumens, it's going to give me a certain portion of the dividends or whatever? No, it doesn't. Okay, because whatever I just mentioned only applies to people who are holding the actual equity in the company, which is the stocks. Okay, so people who buy tokens, unfortunately, can only rely on the token burn or some kind of partnership distribution. Do you notice the trend here? Look at Tron. Tron has been giving out tokens from other people, right? Then at the same time, since they raise so much money and during the ICO for Tron, that their tokens, right, are free money. Okay, the tokens are free money, guys, because it's perceived value on the exchanges. It's perceived value on the exchanges. When you look at the circulating supply of Tron, for example, compared to how much Tron that is being kept behind, okay, that part is already considered free because they've already locked in, well, at least to a certain extent, locked in a certain amount of money either in fiat after doing the ICO, which is in BTC or Ethereum, right? Because when you participate in ICO, you are already you're already exchanging your precious Bitcoin for something that could potentially be precious, okay? So right now, if you did that exchange, right? Tron didn't have to give up any piece of the company, okay? There was no equity. Right now, the way Tron works is just purely, okay, whenever I have a partnership with a particular company, okay, make sure there's enough hype created around it. Although there's no real revenue generation at the moment, I want to give out tokens, I give out tokens. As long as the token has a perceived value, it's worth something. Whether is it 1 cent, 10 cents, $1, it doesn't matter. So it also creates this ecosystem in itself, where if you hold Tron, I'll give you this token, right? That's why a lot of people, right, just love it, right? I'm just an investor. I just blindly hold this token, right? I don't care what it does. It's giving me money. That's how a lot of people think. 99% people think this way, right? And that's why it gets very dangerous, because if you don't know what you're holding, right, or why you even invested in something, right, chances are the moment the shit show just hits the fan, right, and at some point, guys, earnings will always catch up. Fundamentals always have to catch up, because if you're buying into businesses that are not revenue generating, that's an expense for the company. Say, for example, I give you on a smaller scale. I hire someone that is not doing anything that's helping me generate revenue. Or let's say this person is operational based. Okay, sure, keeps my company's operation based. Operational stuff is always a cost, but it can be cost saving. If let's say I efficiently dedicate this person, right, to help me in automating certain processes, it saves me time, and at the same time it potentially could save me money because I'm using the right tools because of this person's skill set, right? That is value for money. Same thing, if Tron just recently bought BitTorrent, and BitTorrent clearly cannot be monetized, because I don't know how it can be monetized, because I did a video about it, by the way, and Tron and BitTorrent has always been free, and most of the time this network, right, unfortunately is used to pirate existing software, games, music. So there are clearly a lot of copyright issues that are going to come with this. And right now, and at the time, the person who owned or at least created BitTorrent, right, they never really monetized the platform. They were always getting investors to come in and pump in money. And I think after 6 or 7 years or so, or maybe even longer than that, right? Probably even longer. The overall, I think it was 10 years. Okay, BitTorrent, I think, is 10 years. And it's worth, I think, recently, Tron bought it for 140 million. It's like, from what I understand, right, it's like a break even. There was no profit. No one made money from it, but it was more of to create. And I think this space, you have to understand, a lot of people just want to create and see how it works. And I will dedicate an X amount of time, right, from my actual day job to go and create this. As long as people are willing to support the project, therefore you have ICO, right? Therefore, you are going to have the developer community support each other and say, okay, I see that what you're trying to build, I think it could work. Let me support you monetarily, or I support you with my skills. So all these things are very hard to quantify. How you're going to ever quantify this? You're not able to, okay? Until everyone starts becoming clear. For example, Microsoft, right, who creates software solutions, they are a conglomerate, but they started off with creating the very first operating system, or at least not the very first. They created an operating system that eventually would monetize the whole world. All right, and of course there are other OSs like for example, you have your IBM that is creating their own OS. I think, if I'm not wrong, okay, this is the history lesson. So this part, there are other OSs. Okay, it's just that the marketing wise, Microsoft was the most aggressive, and they were able to comb the market in over a period of time. So right now, everybody's thinking, how do we decipher the information then? How do we bring everything together? You can't, okay? You really cannot. And that's why a valuation model, even though whatever valuation model that is being put out there, you can't really put a direct price and link it to the token price. You just can't. It just doesn't work, okay? And same thing, whatever that happens in this space, whatever that's discussed in this space, right, is always just purely from a speculative aspect. Although there are fundamentals, although there are companies that are already existingly generating revenue and providing services, you are still not buying the equity to the company. You're not. You just don't own any, right? And I think the only best way that these companies are kind of rewarding its investors, okay, rewarding its investors is just basically giving you a piece of their revenue. Whatever revenue that comes in, okay, whatever revenue that comes in, they will just provide like a in a form of a token burn or whatever. That's the best thing that you can do. And hopefully, as the platform matures and there are more solid big brand partnerships that come on board, it does help. It does help, and from there the token appreciates in value, and it maintains a certain price. That is kind of like how this space is going to turn out. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Okay, I'm gonna take some questions now. Okay, so that fella, I thought block info was cool to see the mainnet's performance speed. Okay, yes, that is just the, yeah, I mean, what you're looking at, block info, right? Blockchain.info, I think that's what you mean. To see the activity, because you want to see what is the on-chain activity. You don't want to you don't want to just you don't want to create a network, right, that has zero transparency. The whole idea about blockchain was there's a certain level of transparency, and then you want to see whether or not the activity is picking up, because okay, after all, we are all about adoption. And so when you see activity starting to pick up, so for example, you see the UTXO, which is the unspent transactions building up, and then at the same time, that means there are more and more people using it. But then when more and more people use it, it gets congested, right? And when it gets congested, then your transfer, right, takes longer. You receive your crypto longer. That's why there were coins or at least there were platforms that were coming out claiming that they are faster. But when they are faster, obviously they are compromising and they are trying to balance the scalability and the centralization and the security part. Because anything that is fast, right, obviously is processed either off chain or on a chain that requires very little validation. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Oh, okay. No, block TVT. Oh, okay. So it's a tracking block activity. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean the concept is the same. Okay. You can get EOS and Tron dividends on the daily on our payout with EOS Max. And okay. Take note, that fella. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, now please be mindful, right? That if the platform itself is giving something, is still okay. But if another company is creating a high yield investment program based on their own right? That means, for example, yesterday I gave a scam alert on this manyf.io. Okay, what happens is that you're gonna invest, you're gonna put in some money, right, into the wallet. Okay, you're going to put in your Ethereum or whatever, in this case Ethereum, into the wallet. And what happens is that they're going to give you Ethereum based on whoever else comes in, and it's kind of like a Ponzi. Okay, so take note, it's a left pocket, right pocket. So if you are early, you are going to be one of the first, and then if this platform catches on, okay, this so-called platform catches on, more people start putting in money, because it's claiming that it's giving out 5% of whatever Ethereum that is being placed in your wallet. Okay, from there, new investors that come in, they are gonna take that money and distribute it to you. based on how much you have. Okay, so take note. Just be very mindful. If EOS Max, okay, if EOS Max was created by the EOS team, like how I earn Tron EOS within Huobi, all right? Huobi is a credible exchange, right? So when I hold Huobi pool tokens or I hold HT tokens, when I hold HT tokens, I earn HPT. When I hold HPT, I get CyberMouse tokens, EOS, and Tron, okay? Because there was an agreement formed. So I think it lasts for about 1 year, and then after that, probably something else will take its place, or maybe nothing will take its place. For now, the incentive is such, okay? So as long as I hold HPT within Huobi, right, a credible exchange, I am able to get something in my wallet. So take note, if EOS Max is part of the EOS team and was launched by EOS, it's still okay. Yes, that's right. You're right, that fella. So those gambling sites can drop in users. The payout goes to 0. Yep, correct. It can close anytime. Okay, just remember it can close anytime. I mean, okay, look, I don't want to be like the guy that says, you know, you shouldn't smoke, but you are always curious about what it's like to smoke, and I'm not encouraging it. I repeat, I'm not encouraging it, but sometimes people get curious. They put in a few $100 just to see what the heck it does. And if it's a few $100 that gives you 5% daily, right, you'll be like, wow, okay, that's fantastic. Then that's okay. But there are people who are, I wouldn't say they're dumb. I would say that they're extremely naive, greedy, and obviously they don't have the skill sets like you and I, who know how to trade, right? And if you know how to trade already, you know how to invest, you know how to do fundamental analysis, you know how to do technical analysis, you have an edge, right? You have a skill. You already know how to do that. So, but these people don't. So a lot of these pay you 5% per day, pay you by the hour. It gets very attractive for them. It is disguised in many ways. It could be airdrop distribution. Do a few things, and then you know, okay. By the way, airdrops, right? There are airdrops where they don't require you to put in any money, and they require you to do something. I think those are fine, okay, because those are marketing campaigns. Okay, we do those as well, right? Because it's based on the certain partnership that we are. They are looking for user acquisition. They are willing to put out marketing dollars. Why not? It will be distributed amongst the community. We do that too, okay? So, but there are airdrop distribution companies that are pretending to be airdrop distribution companies where they want you to put in money into a wallet. And that's when you shouldn't do it, okay? Because you don't have to put in any money to do something, because you're already trading the activity. You're trading your data and you're trading your time, right? To go and do those tasks. Follow this company on Twitter, follow this company on YouTube, follow this company on Facebook, whatever, okay? Whatever they require you to do. And after that, they're going to give you maybe $1 to about $10. It's very small amount. And I mean, it's great and all, but it's not life-changing money, right? Here, we talk about making life-changing money. And making life-changing money, it's hard work, guys. You either go and build something, all right, build your own business, build your own brand, do content, dish out, write articles, shoot videos. You know, if you're someone who loves taking photos, make sure you're on Instagram. You know, stuff like that. It's actual work. It's day to day, man. I'm here every day dishing out content, because there's no two ways about it. There's no two ways about it. There's no fast way to make money, guys. So when you see all these kind of things, right, just be very mindful. Right, so well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. That is all the time that we have today. If you found that this video was of value, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't feel that it was any good to you, you didn't really get it because there was no real quantification, well, there isn't, right? As I mentioned, if you were watching the whole of the episode, you will know why there was no real quantification or link to the price and the actual intrinsic value and the transparency of the company. Give it a thumbs down then. It's okay. But feel free to comment if you felt that there is a way to truly quantify the value of a smart contract protocol or a blockchain platform. Let me know. I'm very interested to see where you come up with those figures. And last but not least, please subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. We want to grow our channel to at least 100,000 subscribers by, I mean, probably 2 years, right? Because this space is still very young. I'm targeting 2 years from now. I want to have at least 100,000 subscribers. And at the same time, I want to continue educating the masses. So nonetheless, help us out. We really want to grow this. And last but not least, click on the notification bell, guys, because for some reason, right, I realized that even if you click on the notification bell, I seem to not have my video showing up on your feed. But nonetheless, it's okay. We're here to play the long game, and we're here to educate the masses about investing and trading in cryptocurrencies and focusing on life-changing income, guys. So we'll see you in the next stream. Take care.